healthy conflict resolution is today's topic that I wanted to really share with you because I went through personally a conflict yesterday with a friend of mine, and I needed to really hone in and practice the skills how to resolve a conflict in a healthy and mature way and not revert back into our trauma wounds and our wounded inner children and get triggered and shut down and get protective and blame and judge and all of those good things that tend to happen when we're not fully in contact with ourselves. But before we jump into that, first of all, please give me a feedback that you can hear me all right, because I've taken you with me on my morning walk and then to the beach. So let me know if the microphone is working all right, and also let me know where you're tuning in. Okay, I have a heart. Yeah, you can just like drop me hearts or fire emojis when you can hear me well, so I know that everything works well. And welcome everyone who's joining in live. Okay, beautiful. You can hear me. Hi Sandra. Hi Dummy. I'm girly. Certified trauma informed somatic coach, and I love guiding people back to themselves and really show them tools, show them the way how they can fully accept themselves, meet all parts of themselves, and really choose, like, step into that juicy self-love where they feel empowered to set boundaries, to go after their goals, after their dreams, create like really juicy, healthy, quality relationships in their lives, and to do so, overcome their past stories, limiting beliefs, traumas that they're still carrying in the body level, right? Because thoughts are happening here, and emotions and traumas are all stored in here. So how to blend in the maximum amount of like that healthy mindset with the body work, as well as with the intuition and the soul aspect that we have. All right, we have Utah in the house, Colombia, Aita, Maui. Wow. All right, I'm tuning in from a tiny island in Thailand where I've been in like 5 months already, and that I like to call one of my home bases now. So without further ado, let's jump into that topic of how to resolve conflicts in a really healthy, mature way. And I wanted to highlight the experience that I went through personally yesterday that really also showed me how valuable it is when we gain more of those healthy communication skills. And in order to do that, we really have to become more honest and aware of ourselves. So what happened was that those of you who have like keep an eye on my stories, I was like in a place where I really struggled to find a house, find a home here, and finally came through, and then I found like this beautiful dream place to stay for at least the next 2 months. And I had a friend contacting me that I knew that was coming into the island, and she just texted me a night before she was landing here, like, hey, like, is it possible to stay for a night in case she doesn't find a place yet? And now on the back end, what was happening was that my body's initial reaction, and by the way, our bodies know way before that our minds do. But even so, even with that whole self-awareness piece, my body was already telling me no. And I was curious and kind of leaned into the fact that whether it's just my level of comfort, something else blocking, something else coming through, or it was just a genuine like, no, I really enjoy my own space right now, and I feel really crave for that. But at the same time, regardless of noticing that my body's initial reaction and my answer was no, my mind came in and said, well, you don't want to be a bad person, you don't want to leave her into a sticky situation, you want to help out another fellow human being if you can. So I decided and I agreed upon that, of course, you can come, you can stay. And so one night extended to another night, and all of a sudden I had a feeling that she might be extending her stay for a whole week. And regardless, I didn't have any trouble having her there because she was, out for the most of the day regardless. But something happened with my sleep, and I really didn't sleep well. I had trouble. I was waking up during the night. I was having trouble falling back asleep. So I woke up in the morning feeling sluggish and not well rested, and I know that if my sleep is not on point, then I'm not also able to show up as my full self in the next days, which is really important for me, especially in this phase in my life where I am coming back into this online space, really gaining more momentum with my coaching, and just really being very mindful of how I'm running my life currently and where my priorities lie. And so we needed to have a conversation in the morning because she obviously felt that something was off, and I was feeling that something was off. And yet again, what my mind was coming in with was that I don't want to upset her, disappoint her. I don't want to be a bad person. So all of these mental stories, those beliefs that I still had in the background, a really big, huge need to please others, right? Because otherwise, oh my God, I'm gonna be not met with love and acceptance, and this is what parts of me really great for, and what they have been almost kept away in the past, right? So I understood where it came from. And it was also very interesting for me to observe that my body went into almost this passive aggressive mode, which is something that has been like modeled to me from my upbringing, from my childhood. That was something that my mother used to revert to, having that silent, passive aggressive type of a way to address any conflict, meaning that we just don't address them. And I could see myself that I was having trouble communicating that to her because I was afraid of her reaction. I didn't want to disturb her. I didn't want to hurt her. And so because I didn't have a full clarity how to handle this situation, I kind of shut down almost. I kind of just like pulled myself back and away. And I could see myself doing that. And that's, I want to highlight that because that's such a huge piece of how we cognitively understand something and how we're aware and what our bodies are going through and how they are handling the situation. But the empowering piece comes in because when we're doing this work on ourselves, we do start to become more and more aware. And once we become aware of that, then lies the power to make a decision. Otherwise, beforehand, we're just running on an autopilot, doing the thing that our bodies and how we're just used to showing up in the world. And now, gaining that awareness, we almost have a decision. Do we want to go down and continue doing the same old thing, or do we want to shift and try something else? Because it's really hard for our brains to grasp and hold on to the fact that we're going to do something different because it is a step outside of our comfort zone. It is stretching our comfort zone, and it's going to feel uncomfortable. And the logical reaction that our mind has is to stay in the comfort, right? Because it's safe, it's familiar, and it's safe because it's familiar, right? And so what happened was that after we had that discussion, and she stated that okay, cool, she has a few other options where to stay in. So initially, it wasn't a question of survival, right? I wasn't leaving anybody on the street. I was just communicating that hey, I love you. You're more than welcome to stay in case you don't have any other alternatives. But here's the case. This is how I'm struggling right now, and for me, it was a huge step towards not abandoning myself, because that has been a pattern for me in the past of overriding my own needs, my own wants, my own body's like well-being in the extent of pleasing somebody else. Even though in the situation logically it was all fine, it was all good, right? Like I could have done that, but the more like the deeper contact we gain to ourselves, the harder it is to start overriding what we need actually in that moment, and to listen to what we need, and to honor what we need, to communicate what we need, and to not abandon ourselves in the extent of trying to please other people. And what happened was very beautiful afterwards, because I saw that she was getting triggered, and she saw that she was getting triggered. But whereas perhaps in the past we would both have reverted to going into like very mind level resolution, meaning that she would say, hey, I'm fine, it's cool, I understand, and then pull back. And I would have gone like, okay, cool, I don't know what to do with it. I don't know what to do here. I don't want to upset her further. I don't want to be in this comfortable situation where I have to explain myself or kind of like uh, I don't want to be in this situation longer than I want to than needed, right? But instead of reverting back to the old ways, we really sat down and talked about it. And so I sat next to her, regardless that she had told me that, hey, it's fine, I'm good, because logically, yes, I know that she's she's a powerful woman, and she is okay with that. And she could understand on a very mindful, like mind level space that she was not going to die, and she was still okay. But her inner child, the wounds in her, the parts that were feeling hurt, were really triggered. So instead of just hearing what her words were saying, I really leaned into my body's wisdom, and I sat next to her and I just hold space. And I affirmed her that she is still loved. I am not doing this because I want to get rid of her, that I somehow don't like her or don't love her, or that she has inherently something wrong with her. And I am not rejecting her. And oftentimes what we want to do in those situations, and you can probably have experienced either somebody doing it for you, to you, or you trying to resolve a conflict in that way, is to go into fix it mode. Like, let me try to fix it. Let me try to find a solution to your situation currently. But actually what we can do, when we're dealing with emotional situations, emotional conflicts, it's meeting them where they're at and offering our emotional support. That means that we allow them to be witnessed, to be heard, to be validated, and that is the juiciness of this work. And so she had a space where she could really voice of like what's happening within her, and even though her mind was online for a lot of the time, saying, I should know better. I should already know how to resolve this. I have done this work. I should be more mature. I should not have been having this conflict within myself, which is also like a mind way to give judgment on our journey, and say that we should already be better. Um, so hence there's still that portion of resistance that's happening within us, within ourselves. We're still not fully accepting where we're at, and we're still not fully giving the medicine to what those parts actually need. Oftentimes we bring our adults like this impatientness, is that a word? We're impatient with our parts, right? We're like, okay, cool, I've told you once that you're validated, you can be here, it's safe, like what else do you want me to do, right? Like, why are you still here? Which is which is not the most loving and accepting way to just handle whatever is present within ourselves and really meet us where we're at. And by the end of this conflict, having the space to really share, both of us to share where we're coming from and share why we were feeling this way, and me being able to explain how, and even like really from the bottom of my heart, thank her that this opportunity came up for me to stand and establish my boundaries and stand up for myself, stand up for those inner parts, say to them that they matter, their well-being matters, and not to abandon myself. And that was really fucking empowering. And after that, even though we had cried and talked and like been in a really uncomfortable position for at least half an hour, after this wave was in a healthy way resolved, fell through, released, we both felt such a huge relief and even like excitement, because we were both so fucking proud of ourselves for handling this as mature adults and not reverting back to our wounded selves. Because if and I invite you to see the conflicts that might be happening around you, more often than not, we are reacting not to the present moment, but we are reacting to certain parts in our past. And when you see two adults fighting, they're actually not the adult versions of themselves. They're the wounded inner like the wounded child parts, the child versions of them that haven't got the recognition, the appreciation, being witnessed, being seen, being loved, and all of those come to surface. And it's a really powerful moment. There's nothing wrong that this is happening. It's actually a really beautiful opportunity to strengthen the connection that you have within yourself and to resolve that in a really healthy, mature way. So actually, it's really beautiful when conflicts arise. There's nothing wrong with that. It actually, yeah, gives an opportunity for us to repair, and through that repair, the connection can become even stronger. So I invite you to really embrace the conflicts, but also, it takes two to tango. It takes two people to be willing to resolve the conflict. Um, and it's a really beautiful experience when both parties are willing and ready to resolve a conflict, because I really felt that we left that situation having a stronger connection and stronger awareness and appreciation and understanding of each other. And that just deepens the bond, because when we choose to, and when we're ready to show our vulnerable side and speak from our hearts, then people can see more of us. We can open ourselves up, and it's a really vulnerable act, but it's also a very courageous act. So people do appreciate that, and there's like this beautiful deepening of that bond that happens, and it happens thanks to the conflict, right? Uh, so I wanted to just share that, how doing this work and becoming more aware of what's happening within you, um, becoming creating like a better, deeper contact and connection and relationship with yourself allows you to have better relationships and connections with others around you as well. Because the deeper you go within yourself, the deeper you're able to meet another in around you, in your close circle. Because when you're able to see those parts, those hurt parts, those wounded inner children, those trauma stories within yourself, you can start to see that everyone is carrying a certain aspect of that within themselves. And if you find a place through this beautiful work to bring compassion and patience and really this loving awareness, this unconditional love portion to the mixture, you're able to meet others in that same place. And you're also able to receive compassion and patience and love from others around you, because you're opening yourself up to that. And our nervous system can feel that. Another nervous system can feel if you are staying in your center, if you're grounded, if you're really holding them without judgment, without needing to fix them. Because if we want to go into fix mode, we inherently are saying that something is wrong, actually there's nothing wrong. The emotions that are coming up are valid. It makes total sense that my friend would have gotten or got that upset and triggered, because she had gone through so many different life experiences where life has presented her or made her feel rejected, and I was just another pebble in her pond, while at the same time I was able to also create a different narrative and different experience around that, right? And so was I able to really put into action how it feels like to not abandon myself and to stand up for myself, and it felt really fucking good. So as I always try to bring that example both to my clients and to my friends, it's like we have those internal shelves of proof that we are building. And when we have stacked up a lot of proof why we cannot show up as ourselves, why we can't be authentically true to our emotions, because we have received a message that somehow our emotions are too much or not accepted, not welcome, push it down, deal with it yourself. We're gonna seclude you if you're having those big emotions. And we have all this proof on this shelf that like why it's not appropriate and good and like healthy to show our emotions. And now we're very consciously starting to build that other shelf of like what happens when I do that, from a regulated nervous system, allowing myself to experience, allowing myself to stand up for myself, allowing myself to practice healthy communication, and then just learning along the way, like what works, what doesn't. Okay, next time around, I can see that I'm the person who wants to take a little bit of space and go through and like have, rearrange my thoughts, or I'm the person who wants to resolve the conflict right away. Like, and how do I communicate? What words to have? How do I explain? And it just becomes better and better and better as we get more reps in. Because I wasn't always good in conflict resolution, in explaining what I feel, understanding what my internal world is going through. And it has taken a lot of practice, and I'm still learning. I'm still not perfect, and it's okay because I understand that I'm human having this human experience, and I'm doing the very best in that very moment, and that has to be enough. Okay, so thank you all for joining me live. I saw that there were a couple of comments and then questions. I'm gonna go through them, see if there's anything that I can answer. But in case you're catching replay, then if it resonated with you, if there was something valuable, something good and juicy that you're taking with you, let me know down in the comments. Share it with me and share it with others, because that's the way that we can highlight and really pinpoint something valuable that others can like take with them as well and help them too. And you can share even a moment or what your experience has been with conflict resolution, and has it always been easy? Are you how do you find it like now, and are you still struggling with it, and then what is exactly what you're struggling, if you are, and if you would like to learn more healthy ways how to establish boundaries, how to not self-abandon yourself, how to gain more contact with yourself, how to hold your emotions, how to navigate them, and how to gain that juicy emotional mastery, then feel free to DM me or comment down below just a word yes, and I will send you all the details regarding my trauma informed somatic program called the Full Body Yes, where we're going to do just that. It's a beautiful trauma informed journey, where we're learning into and diving into awareness and body connection and aligned action. So if it's something that sparked your interest in, just let me know, DM me, comment down below, and I will get back to you. So let's just, to end this beautiful live, I will go through some of the comments and pop them in here. All right, Ascension Affirmation says, when you experience the same type of conflict over and over again, look for ways to minimize conflict the moment it approaches. Minimize conflict. Let me ponder over that. If the same type of conflict arises again and again, I think like the goal is not to find like, oh, what is triggering here in this moment and try to avoid it, but really get curious of like why the same thing happens over and over. Because if there's a pattern, then there is some wisdom learned from it. And I would really get curious and not approach it in a way like, oh, what the fuck is this happening? But I wonder, why is this happening? What's playing out here? What wants to be witnessed, healed, and resolved so that we can move past it and not like tiptoe around this topic, this subject, this trigger, and how we can resolve the ammunition that is getting explosive every time that we're getting close to that trigger. So I would bring this curiosity to this situation and resolve the conflict instead of trying to avoid it. Yeah, okay. Alice says that, oh, how I wish she's not healed at all. I had 3 years of, so I go right back to wounded child self when I'm in a conflict. This work is not a one and done type of a thing. That's the thing in here. That's our logical, rational, adult, cognitive prefrontal cortex that says, oh, okay, oh, I understand. I have this inner child within me. I've told her once that she or him that they're safe, they're heard, I love them. I even hugged them once in my meditation. So now they're healed, right? So it's not quite, I wish it would be like that, but it's not quite that. It's literally you building a relationship, and trust is being built. Relationships are being built. It's a constant effort and action that you put into it. And so just as you would deal with a kid who's feeling upset or hurt or disturbed or sometimes just tired, you would offer them your presence first and foremost, not going into fix it mode, not going into, oh my God, why can't you be more like a grown up? Why can't you already be more like me? You just really offer them the regulation, the presence, the witnessing power that they have. I have a kid right now, right? Not mine. But what a beautiful synchronicity. So it's a beautiful, long-lasting journey. If you want to know more how to heal your inner child, and how to powerfully create that nourishing, loving relationship with those internal parts with you, once again, drop me a DM, drop me a comment, yes, and I will fill you in all of the ways that we can work on that. All right, I'm excited that you were here. Let me know how this landed, and I will talk to you very soon. Enjoy the rest of your day.